Erica, and this is my March wrap-up / review and discussion of a book called An Unquiet Mind, written by K. Redfield Jamison. Now, I only read one book in March, unfortunately, from start to finish, and this was An Unquiet Mind. The reason I only read one book in March is because it was way too hectic with school, and this book is one that I actually chose to complete a school assignment. I also started to read Mockingjay, which is the final book in the Hunger Games trilogy, but I read it so intermittently that I forgot what happened each time I started to sit down again and continue to read it. So once my assignments were handed in, I read the book from April 3rd and the start, and it took me like a day and a half to finish it. I really enjoyed it. It was an epic finale, and I hope you guys have a chance to read The Hunger Games if you haven't already. As you may know, it's one of the most popular series out there. Now on to my review and discussion of An Unquiet Mind, written by K. Redfield Jamison. This book is about a woman who struggles with bipolar disorder, and it's a memoir about her life and her struggles. K. Redfield Jamison grew up in Washington, D.C. in a military family. So her father was like an airline pilot, and her mother was a stay-at-home mom. And she was born in 1946, I believe. She started having her first episode of mania when she was 17 years old. K. Redfield Jamison, as a child, was always energetic and had an interest in medicine and science and things like that. And she was like very mercurial as a teenager, like up and down, and as an adult, that's when she started really experiencing the symptoms of bipolar disorder while she was in college. During her teenage years, her father got a new job, so she had to move away from Washington, D.C., and he moved to Los Angeles. And this is where she started to experience a little bit of a culture shock, because the rest of her classmates were these rich kids with a lot of money and a lot of possessions, and they would like really laugh at her when she used to refer to her teachers as sir and ma'am. Although Kate did fit in because she was always very like academic minded, and she really didn't know what was going on with her at the time, because bipolar disorder wasn't known like in the late 60s. From her high school years, she eventually went to college, and that's where things started to really get crazy. She would have these dark moods, and she wouldn't be able to focus on her schoolwork, and her mind would just escape her, because she had always found refuge in her mind to think about something intellectual. And when she started becoming depressed and having these black moods, she couldn't focus on anything. That's what her depression was like for her. She had always wanted to go to the University of Chicago just like her father did, but she ended up going to UCLA. She spent 1 year of college at UCLA, and she took a year sabbatical because of all the craziness that she was experiencing. And she traveled to St. Andrew's School in Scotland. She came back to UCLA And through her college years, she decided that even though she's always wanted to be interested in medicine and go to medical school, because of the craziness of her moods, she realized she wouldn't be able to sit in like long lectures for a long period of time like you have to do in medical school. So she eventually decided to change her major to psychology, and through her major in psychology, she decided to become a person who studies mood disorders to find out more about her disorder and more about what her own experiences were like and more information about that. She eventually became a doctoral student at UCLA in psychology. She got tenure also. Despite her having academic accomplishments, she also married young and separated from her first husband as a result of her wanting to have children, and he didn't want to. Throughout her career, she also met someone named David, who was just her boyfriend, but he unexpectedly died of a heart attack. This was kind of a crisis for her, but she ended up getting through it fine. Near the end of the book, she met her husband named Richard, whom she ultimately decided to move back to Washington, D.C. with, to start her own mood disorders clinic there. Kay Redfield Jamison's symptoms of bipolar disorder, she has bipolar 1, so that's a disorder where your manias and your depressions are really extreme. And throughout her disorder, she had like numerous psychotic hallucinations, and one of those large hallucinations was so terrifying that that's how she ended up seeking help for her disorder. Lithium is a prime medication for people with bipolar disorder, and that's what her psychologist and her agreed upon. Lithium seems to work for her. So that's basically the synopsis, and it's really interesting. The writing itself is kind of like scattered. I believe that was her intention, to sort of like jump all over the place with the plot, because that's how like a person with bipolar disorder is. This woman is amazing. She's had tons of academic accomplishments, and even though her disorder was particularly rough, later in her profession, she decided to start her own mood disorders clinic to help herself and others, which I think is phenomenal. You should really give this book a read, and I hope you enjoyed my discussion of it. Thanks. Bye.
How come everything turns out leaving me with more doubts? I feel like I'm upside down, and I don't wanna be here. I go right, should've gone left, and I see things I should've not.